crypto media company The Block, Congressman Jim Himes puts out white paper for digital dollar. Now, this is not to be confused with the Digital eCash Act that I covered weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and that basically called upon the Treasury to create a form of digital cash, which was not considered a CBDC. They would internally create their own crypto division to create a new blockchain, issue the token, and basically distribute it amongst the US economy, hoping that it could gain global adoption, and so on and so on. Now, with this bill, this is a CBDC. Congressman Himes stated that the US is getting left behind in the crypto space. There are currently no laws published, but we have some in play. They just have not been passed yet. But they're looking to go a little bit deeper into the crypto space and, finally solidify themselves as a legitimate player in the crypto space. Now, everyone knows the cons of a CBDC. Obviously, the pros don't really play in favor of the people because that's just going to open up greater transparency, which is none of the government's business. If they can see what you spend your money on every day, who's to say that they won't try to tell you that that extra Twinkie is highly discouraged? And that's none of their business, right? And that's not the only thing that a CBDC opens the US citizens up to. There is a fear that there will still be an unlimited amount of money printing going on in the form of, basically a digital dollar, just numbers on a screen that goes up. And that's basically our problem now. Our debt to GDP ratio is out of control. And at the same time, the Fed is trying to combat inflation with raising interest rates, and it just seems like it's not working. We've recently had news that they raised it 0.75. That was trailed by 0.5, I believe, the last two iterations. So they're doing what they can with a contracting economy coming fresh out of a pandemic and about knee deep into a proxy war with Russia. Good news is that there is a white paper, so we can basically see what they are trying to do with this CBDC. I will not go through it now just for the sake and the length of this video and your ears and your time. But if you do want me to cover this more in depth, just go ahead and throw it down in the comments. I'm basically a community-driven channel, so whatever you guys want to see, let me know and I will research or review it. Reading the first paragraph, today's white paper, oh no, don't want to do that. Today's white paper highlights that a US CBDC would present novel and serious privacy challenges. You're not wrong about that. Wow, that was too early. Proposal maintains the need for commercial banks to handle retail user accounts. It specifies an account-based rather than token-based structure, entailing stronger user identification processes that require intermediaries to certify the identity of wallet holders. Now, with that little piece right there, I can automatically assume, without even reading the white paper yet, it's more about gaining extra control over the people. Not once have they stated how their undisciplined economic and monetary policy has caused the situation that we are in now. Endless printing of the dollar. Rather than trying to gain more stringent control over the people, verifying what they're trying to do, put faces to accounts, rather than trying to enforce more control over the US population, why don't we create a CBDC that forces monetary discipline, monetary integrity, more transparency from wherever this funny money is coming from? A lot of the times that the money printer from the Federal Reserve gets spun up, a lot of the people don't even know where that money is going. Is it going to Ukraine? Is it going to Israel? What about Turkey? Who knows? And that's why we are in the position we are now, because there is undisciplined economic and monetary policy that I believe should be the focus of this next digital revolution. If we're going to step into this, I feel like we should step into it with a bias of who put us here in the first place. And that's just my 2 cents. Reading the paragraph below, they also mentioned the proposal for the e-cash that was proposed by Senator Stephen Lynch, so it still seems like it is in the race. I really hope this one gets passed over this current bill, the CBDC bill. Let me try to see what the name is so I can keep track of it. Overall, I have read the proposal for eCash and I know it is not a CBDC, and they focus on privacy. And as you can see here, this one that we're currently talking about is account based, and the proposal for eCash is token based. That's why they made that reference there, because we have two that we can compare and the people can choose. And I choose eCash. Let's move on. All right, this is the last article, and I know this guy is public enemy number one, right? But he said something last week during an interview that was translated to the best of the translator's ability. And he said some things about the U.S. economy that really made me think about the things I have said in the past and the way I feel about where the U.S. dollar is going, how crypto will be integrated into the global financial system, not even just about the U.S. And it just reaffirms how I feel. Nothing lasts forever. The U.S. has been a superpower for a long time. And I believe the first time in a long time, the U.S. and the U.S. dollar is showing a sign of weakness. And that sign came from the economic sanctions that they imposed on Russia, along with a few of their allies like France and Germany. And while those sanctions did do a number to Russia, there was also collateral damage because we were also benefiting from Russia and their natural reserves. The EU is considered Germany is considered a exporter, which they rely on a significant amount of remittances to come in so they can send things out, and they gain a lot of monetary compensation that way. Now for the US, we are importers. We send money out to survive and sustain the amount of resources that we consume. We don't produce enough to basically sustain on our own. We rely on others, oil, and President Putin, Mr. Putin, has seen that, and he basically brought that up in his speech. Let's read it here. Americans think of themselves as exceptional, and if they think that they are exceptional, that means everyone else is second class. Putin said in a more than 70-minute marquee address at the annual St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. In contrast, Putin presented Russia as part of a new global order, willing to challenge an America still clinging to its past status as the world's lone superpower. Nothing lasts forever, Putin said. Now, it may seem kind of vague, but as I have stated before on this channel, and that was like one of my first or second videos, one of the top five, not top five, but one of the first five, I've stated that fiat currencies do not last forever. And with the amount of money that have been printed within the past 4 years, makes up almost 50% of the current money that is in circulation today. And what does that tell you? What does that tell me? That tells me that there is disregard for the working class citizen. No one has time to really worry about how to keep up with inflation. What assets do I need to buy to really protect myself against a weakening dollar due to the amount of devaluing that's going on? And rightfully so. A lot of people are busy. It's insane how the U.S. government tries to play the blame game when it comes to who is really hurting the economy and who's really doing this. They're the policymakers. You guys are the legislators. And in the end, I just don't think the tools that they have to combat inflation, to avoid a recession, or to avoid destruction or devaluation of the US dollar is significant enough to really help the working class citizen. In the transition to a digital future, it's going to be a fight. The policies that we want, which entails financial privacy, financial inclusion, cheap cross-border payments, DeFi, they're not going to want that. But that's something we have to fight for. And I think with us fighting and educating ourselves, that will give us the best chance in a future in the new financial revolution. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. This was a long video. I haven't done one of these in a long time. But if there is anything you want me to expand on, go ahead and put it down in the comments. There isn't a comment that I don't read, and I challenge you guys to prove me wrong. I will catch you all on the next one.